We've heard in some other videos that there are civilizations that are cat people.
If you want to call them that, yeah.
Have you visited any of those planets?
I haven't, but I know whereof you speak. They are just like the reptilians, quote unquote. There are traits that resemble these reptiles or felines. And so human beings would call them by those names. But you could look around at your own humanity and see such variety. You could call people by animal names. It's just frowned upon in your society overall. But think of the ancient gods were oftentimes given animal characteristics. That's because that's what they represented to the people who ended up making artwork about them or whatever. That's what they looked like. Bird people, alligator people, elephant people. What are some of the other ones? Well, definitely snakes and other reptiles. So, yeah, it's not a hard, fast rule that cat people have whiskers and ears and nose prints, although they are one of the beings that uses nose prints.
That's what I was thinking.
Tails, claws. They might have some of those characteristics, or, well, okay, because you want to know all this stuff. There are so-called cat people who do have claws and tails, and they use them. The tails are prehensile, let's say.
Oh.
Because they can utilize them as they do their claws, but yet their claws are sheathed and retracted very deeply because they have they don't have little paws, they have fingers, as you would call them, so that they can grasp. They have opposable thumbs so they can grasp things.
So they're kind of like in concept, not truly design, as in the Marvel show Wolverine.
Well, his was
I know, but that's
artificially.
But it's that similar concept that they actually come out of her fingers and then retract back.
Well, his, if you recall, come out of his hand between his fingers.
Yes, I'm not. Yeah.
But there's what come out when necessary.
Okay.
And part of their whole grooming is to keep them sharp, because you never know when you might need them sharp. And they come in handy to open cans. They're that tough that they can, just...
So I take it they have cans?
Yeah, they don't quite look like yours, but yeah, they work metal, and they've come up with cans and jars very similar to what you have, because they can work glass, they can work a whole myriad of... They have quite the metal minerals. That's the word I was looking for. And so, yeah, they can do a lot that is very similar to what you've done here on Earth. They take it a little farther, perhaps.
Oh.
Because they're better quality materials. They work them better. I hope that recorded, because I was saying it a little. I don't want your human fellows to think that I think they're inferior.
Oh, no.
But no, the felines, as you would call them, they don't have whiskers, by the way.
They don't?
No, they do not have whiskers. They're more apt to have actual eyebrows above their eyes. Interesting.
Do they have a cat-like face?
You could call it that, yeah.
Are they furry?
And yes, they are furry.
Do they wear clothes on their fur?
More for ornament than necessity. And they especially for ceremonies, and they get all caught up in that.
Pomp and circumstance.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, they are better at working the minerals, better at metallurgy. And so when they make something, especially if they're mass producing something, it's usually at a higher, what I would call a higher quality than what you produce here on Earth. However, that doesn't mean that there won't come a time when humanity has better grasp of metallurgy and processing and better use of the minerals that you have, so you end up with higher quality materials to put your cereal in and stuff.
So, what type of world is their world? Do you know?
It's lush.
Yeah.
They have not felt the need to build buildings, even for processing. Well, they go underground for their factories that, work the metals, make the glass, produce those things. But they do have agriculture as well, and so a lot, believe it or not, they do grow specific grains that do digest properly, not like your little earth cats are almost completely, especially if they're wild. They're purely protein based. But these beings that you're asking about have developed enough to where they get much of the nutrients that they need from not so much fruits, but from grains, mostly grains and grasses, some of which are eaten raw and some of which are processed into something else. But they have learned how to properly utilize their world to give them the nutrition they need to do what they want to do.
Is there any greed on that planet?
There has been, and there might still be some vestiges of greed, but a lot of that has been pretty much, shall we say, clawed out of their populace.
Okay. What's their health industry like? Do they have one?
Other than agriculture, no, not really.
So if they get sick, do they get sick?
If they do, they have an innate ability to find what they need to cure themselves.
Oh. Okay.
Or if it's incurable, they know they're going to die and they go off and they curl up and they die.
Okay.
It's no big deal. It's not like humanity is like, oh no, I can't die, I don't want to die. Oh. And you have to go through all these ceremonies to bury the body or whatever. Mm-hmm. And no, they're more attuned to their world and what is natural.
Do they have a government?
More like localized governments, just because if there's a community, it's just easier to have someone answerable, to whatever. And I'm pretty sure they're elected, or they take turns somehow, so you don't get one person thinking he's got all this power like you have here on Earth. They pretty much cooperate, although I know that your felines here on Earth rarely have, they're loners for the most part. even we see something about feral cats, colonies of feral cats here on Earth. That is more or less for it's mutual cooperation for protection more than anything else.
Yeah. Japan has a cat island.
Oh.
All that's on it are feral and homeless cats. And people visit.
Well, that's
The island is theirs.
sounds like fun for the cats
And for the people
and for the
that visit.
people. I don't think feral cats would like it a whole lot.
Well, they eventually come around because they notice that, this guy's getting better food than I am. I better go get some food. And you'll see them scurry up and grab food on the way.
So they figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's better than the alternative elsewhere.
Yeah. So what type of transportation do they have?
Feet. They walk everywhere. Or run if they're in a hurry. And they will run on all four.
How fast do they run in relationship to our world? If you can make that judgment.
Let's see. Yeah, it's a little difficult. They are rather large, so when they run on all fours, they can go pretty fast. I'm not sure how that would translate. Some of your wild cats might be able to keep up with them for a little while anyway. They just have tremendous stamina.
Okay.
If they need to get to a certain point at a certain time, yeah, they can pour it on. But that doesn't happen very often.
Okay. So their society is more laid back than stressful.
Yeah, definitely what you would call laid back. Not like your cats here on Earth.
No,
That
they're stressed.
they get stressed easily. Even that fella
Yeah, he
up
does. We know because we're gone for a while and come back. It's yum, 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 yum.
there. Oh, letting you know that he missed you. Well,
Yep.
that you shouldn't have gone in the first place is probably what he's thinking.
So how many live on this world of theirs?
There you go with the numbers again.
Yeah, just the ballpark figure.
Well, it's nowhere near 8 billion, that's for sure.
Very good.
It might be 8 million.
Wow, that's much more manageable.
Yeah, yeah. And their planet is very grateful.
How big is their planet compared to Gaia?
Oh, more along the lines. I was thinking Jupiter, but I saw Saturn in my head.
A big planet.
So,
huh?
yeah, it's fairly large.
So they have high gravity too.
Yeah, I guess that's one reason they're so big. So that they can deal with it and they can run fast, even in that gravity, that if this poor fellow was there,
Yeah.
he'd be squished.
We couldn't survive there. We couldn't even visit there.
No.
Okay, cool.
Oh, they do have a couple moons, so maybe the moons are closer
okay.
to, I think they're closer to Mars size.
Do they travel intergalactically? Do they have
Oh.
the capabilities?
They have no desire to develop those
Okay.
capabilities. Although they've been visited by intergalactic or
Oh.
interstellar peoples, so they're aware that that's a possibility and that there's, beings out there that do that, and so they're not surprised if they get visited by someone they hadn't met before.
Like we are in this world because powers that be don't want them to know it.
Yeah. But they don't have that kind of mentality.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was an interesting discussion
Okay.
on cats and cat people.
Maybe someday your people or someone, some human being, will be able to go and visit with them.
Are they in this galaxy?
Yeah.
In the same dimension we are in? Because
yes and no.
Bashar's in a different dimension. That's what I'm
Yeah.
using as a reference.
But they kind of straddle two dimensions. This one, very similar to yours, and another one that, don't ask me to describe it. It wouldn't be, oh, maybe that's one reason they are as mellow as they are. They're aware of alternate dimensions. They're aware that some beings, most beings, are in one, or this one, or that one, or, only a single one. And so they are more tolerant of those poor beings who don't know that they could be in more than one at a time. Yeah.
Guess.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you give me a hint as to where in our galaxy? This galaxy is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 50,000 light years across.
But quite a few space traveling beings, as you would call them, have traveled to other distant star systems. They figured out how to do that relatively quickly. Not quite the same way that Bashar's people have.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them are close or along those same lines. It's all in how you think, basically. As you like to say, it's all up here.
It is.